Hi, my name is Lisa Richter, the host of Talking Industrial Automation, a podcast where you get to know the people who make modern industrial automation and processing possible. In today's episode, we're talking industrial automation with Marc Taccolini, founder and CTO of Tatsoft, a platform developer for real-time factory floor data monitoring, SCADA, and HMI systems, distributed data aggregation, and advanced visualization tools. Marc, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Why don't you start off by how you got where you are today, and why did you choose the career you did, or did the career choose you?
In fact, the career chose me because right out from my school, engineering school, I went to be a trainee and a system integration company. I liked the area, stayed there, moved to create software instead of apply, and I'm there since then.
What was the motivation for you to create a new platform after having an established product?
Well, right after I was working in engineering company, I had the experience from the company that was deploying the products. So my first platform was HMI products called Indosoft, and that was created around 1996. And that product line was quite successful. But what did happen by the late 2008, it was clear that for the next 10, 15 years, we'll need to have something else. Because that platform was created primarily to be an HMI, human-machine interface, and use the technology that were available at that time. I'm talking 1996 here. So we want to move to have a platform for the new challenges for the 4.0 industry. And that requires to create a completely new system. And that's what I decided to do with Tatsoft.
What is, switching gears a little bit here, what is the biggest benefit of CSIA membership for Tatsoft?
Well, our genesis, our roots, as I told you, are as a system integrator. Myself, I started doing startup and being able to be in this community close to the system integrator is what keeps us on track, because everything we do on software developments, we try to do through the point of view who is on the fields deploying those solutions. So it's very important for us as now a supplier to be in close contact with that community.
Why did Tatsoft become a member of CSIA? Is it really just to be closer to that SI community?
Definitely yes, as I told you, number one. And it's a little bit more than that. When I decided to renew the software platform, as you asked me, that was established to go to a complete new venture, it was to create some tools from now to the future. And that requires to find forward-thinking integration companies that are trying to do the extra mile to embrace new technologies. And the environment here is great for that, because the companies that are member here, it's voluntary. They are here because they want to do that extra mile for themselves and to their customers. So typically they are a good profile to embrace our technologies.
What kinds of trends and challenges are you seeing in industrial automation right now?
Well, first of all, the next few years we still will see lots of mergers and acquisitions. All major players are trying to reposition themselves, so that will be very active the next few years and create some disturbance on the markets. But beyond that, there's lots of marketing hype around cloud solutions, but lots of the infrastructure on premises is still legacy. So there is lots that we have to do a little old school, the factory floor on premises, to really enable and unlock lots of what we're talking now on new systems.
How has Tatsoft grown or changed in the past year, and what do you expect for your company in the next 12 to 24 months?
We are growing consistently at double digits. The next 2 years we shall keep that rate. But one thing that may change regarding brand recognition, we started trying primarily to work through white brand label agreements, OEM agreements, and during the next 24 years, we shall start to be more present at the end user with our own brands.
In your opinion, what's the biggest challenge facing the automation marketplace today and in the future?
There are lots of new technologies, tools out there, but the end users deploying those technologies, they're not supposed to be full system integrators, so you cannot go to each solution you're going to deploy, do a cut and paste of 10, 15, 20 different solutions and put together. It's not that simple yet to do that. So a big challenge they need to do is when deploying those solutions to find the right combination so a small set of tools can bring that connection from the factory floor to the cloud I'm explaining without having to create like a new platform to each project. So to try to deploy all those techniques that are available there, but trying to go small, not to get overwhelmed what you can do.
What about the Internet of Things and this whole talk of Industry 4.0? Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, that 4.0 initiative started in Germany, so it really started to be strong after 2011. And the concept, it's quite simple, was to create a new design for the automation platform where you have some basic principles in place. Number one, to have a higher connectivity among the data sources and the devices, and do your design starting with connectivity in mind. That design brings together two other pieces of that global design. One is transparency, to give more access of information on the device itself, like the publishing protocols, like self-diagnose, and also have those devices with easy integration for the human, for technical assistance. And when you put all those together, you add the last and fourth concept that was the guideline for the design, which is to allow more decentralized decision. So it's a model where you put more smartness on the device itself. That's everything we talk now about the edge. That's one of those components on that. When you combine those four design principles, is what was defined as the Industry 4.0. So the IoTs are child of that initiative.
I see. What's the smartest decision your company has made recently?
We started as a platform provider, so our main goal when we started the company wasn't to go too much on any specific vertical, but to provide a tool as generic as possible so they could be applied in many areas. But the last 2 years, we started to work close with some partners to create some vertical prepackaged solutions that are easily to deploy with minor modifications from one customer to another one. That was able to empower our integration channels and was a really very successful experience that we're going now to try to expand. The idea that when you approach a project, it should not be really a new custom design. It should be as much as possible to pick up building blocks from your previous experience and previous projects and thus to set up the configuration for that new specific installation.
I don't know if you're going to want to admit this, but what mistake did you make and what did you learn from it?
Well, I can say one. Many years ago, when we designed the product line, the commercial model was ready to be able to sell the software by tags, by a global unlimited license with tags and users, or by subscription. So we have that everything in place. But the market was not there yet. We were receiving most of the requests by tags only. So we decided to hold a little on that because the market was not there. And thinking back now, we shouldn't. We put those options available only last year because now that's mature. But we could, in that example, to be leading and teaching the markets. So if you have something in-house that you believe is the future like we had, don't wait to the market to be read. Yeah. If you are confident on what you did, just put out. Mm-hmm. The market will pick up. Mm-hmm. Don't wait.
Build it and they will come.
Yes, essentially.
Yeah.
By the way, I think someone had said that.
Yeah.
I should read more because it's not really a huge insight. Many companies, they come with that same conclusion. We just describe it nicely. Thanks for that.
What makes Tatsoft optimistic about the future of the automation industry?
Well, we are in very exciting times now because it's not this kind of very step technology shift that we're having now. It's around, have a paper on that. Some people, they say that's 15 years, 20 years, but it's not every 5. So we are now in a very nice position that we have a huge development of new technologies, but those new technologies over the last 10 years, they become mature for real life application. Mm-hmm. I told you all that buzz started in 2010, 2011, but in those few years, now we have something that's practical, that's ready to deploy. So the next few years will be very exciting because you'll be able to be put in production all the hype we have discussed in the past few years. Now it's really there.
It is exciting. What advice would you give your younger self just getting started?
I think the main one will be to remind myself that you are your own main competition. You should always look outside the markets, but primarily should focus on involving your own company, your product line, and ultimately yourself. I think that would be the best.
What advice would you give a prospective customer researching you versus your competition?
Well, first of all, to look beyond the marketing hype. The same way the software technology evolved the past 10 years, the marketing tools and packaging marketing messages evolved that much, if not more. But on the end of the day, you need to have a platform that has high performance, that is reliable, that has experience in practical factory floor requirements. So make sure you also do the technical dive in and not go only by market hype or because you see what other people were doing.
How do you explain or describe to lay people what you do? Because it's pretty techy, right?
It is. Well, one thing we say, it's a pretty generic, but it's a good starting point, as we collect data and we deliver information. Trying to go a bit deeper on that, we collect in real time data from automated systems. And what we do, we transform that information in a way that's useful for the human being. The idea is to collect all that automated data that's out there and bring in as actionable information for the human beings managing those systems.
From a supplier perspective, how should a customer go about choosing a system integrator?
Well, experience is key. That should be, I believe, probably the number one factor. The number two should be make sure that engineering company has the close relationship with the suppliers they will be using on that environment. Those are the two key decision points.
Without naming names, unless you want to, tell us about a project that was very challenging at what you did to solve the customer's problem.
I can think of few. Some I can disclose the names, some I can't. Start for the ones I can. We did some very nice and challenging solution with Apache in Houston, Texas. They have all those rigs. Each rig has its own control system that we're not supposed to replace. So we had to design a system to be deployed in each rig, providing local real-time analytics and combining all that data in the central office. And there is all kind of technical details in that application. But it was very nice one because it's a typical by the book, has lots of check marks. Yes, real-time analytics, edge devices, visualization, data aggregation, security. And going back to security, another interesting case was with Ecolab in Nalco. I always, on my speech, I talk about on-premise application, not only the cloud. And that Nalco was one of the cases. They have all kind of practical requirements on cybersecurity, on connecting with the GCSs. They need to able to solve before their analytics, centralized cloud analytics could even step in that company. So we'll help them to create the edge on-premise solutions to enable that next step. And the last one I'd like to mention, one of the major problems and challenges the users they have now is the high cost of maintenance of the legacy applications. Not only the internal costs, because many of those applications, they were creating just putting one system top of the other, not exactly using clean design. So lots of what they have in the fields now was software created 10, 15, sometimes 25 years ago, the original design. And those things, they have a very high maintenance cost from the internal point of view, and also from the software supplier itself. So I cannot disclose a name yet, but we changed all the factory floor software from a very large food company from the previous SCADA and factory floor software they have, only by the cost of the annual maintenance they'll pay for the supplier. So 1 year of the maintenance was able to pay the full renewal of the software level. That would be a very interesting case to publish in detail in the future.
Yeah, nice. So where should people go for more information?
Well, of course, our main website is tatsoft.com. And from that website, you can also navigate to the factorystudio.com, where we have more in-depth technical information.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Talking Industrial Automation. Thanks for listening, and thank you, Marc, for joining me today.
My pleasure.
If you enjoy this podcast, please subscribe in iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also help others find us by sharing your favorite episodes with colleagues. Thanks for listening to the Talking Industrial Automation podcast. Thanks also to bensound.com for the music bumpers. Until next time.